done many presentations over many months on this, and I have to say that on balance, I have, although I've never expressed a view on this before, I think I never decide for sure until I've heard every last part of the debate. But I do think that on balance, that the process of the design, both the park design and vision and its new building outweigh the negative of removing a quarter-acre of park space, although there's nobody on the west side, I think, will defend our park spaces as much as I do. So I come out, all of our parks. I come out in favor of both. When we do have the environmental impact statement process, there will be another chance to discuss whether the plan for the park is a remediation of the loss of the park space, which is part of that process next year.
I think we're going to go over here to Richard in this row and then go back to
this procedure tonight is an example of rules that have not worked effectively. We've been railing about it for years. The only issue tonight is the design of the building. Taking the parkland, which I believe the concerns of it is too bad that we're not allowed to consider all these issues as a whole. But tonight, all we can do is talk about design. As to design, I have to say there's not a building, there's not a landmark that I know of in a major city in the world that doesn't have a modern structure attached to it. And it doesn't have structure. Think about the money and the there are modern decision has
so much for to a comment that somebody made about the project being focused on creating more event space. I think it'd be helpful to know what the current footprint of event space in the building is, and then how much event space is being created relative to other programmatic functions in the new design. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that can be addressed right now, but at a future point when there's another presentation, that would be helpful.
We don't have that. No, I don't think anybody. It's my understanding, though, that this is not, that I assume at some point you'll use it for events also, but it's not. It's not. And
okay, moving. Is that answer your question?
Okay, so first, since our park and the building, I raised my children starting 43 years ago on the Upper West Side. My wife born just 2 or 3 blocks away from the museum, and we never found the park satisfying, okay, enough for us. we didn't use it very much, but what it looks like it will become will be an improvement of what's now, although there'll be less space. I think the attempt to create alternative movement and uses in that area and possibly expand that space out for active use would be desirable. But I think the plan is particularly good because the museum has accepted the concerns of the community and recessed the building further into the park, so it's not so imposing, and so the park has a real presence and it is prominent close up. The building is consistent in many ways with the surrounding buildings. The window lines are aligned. The height is not out of proportion with these buildings on the side. The modern architecture is interesting, okay? And because the coloration is being attempted to be consistent, it won't be as stark as my horror when I first saw it. It looked like an ice box. That's what it is. The volume or height seen from the outside, if you take it, may seem a bit up there. But it's and I want to say that I taught and was an administrator in the South Bronx for 30 years, and we used the museum regularly. We actually did an internship in the early 90s. My students would have access, even though they were South Bronx kids from the poor area, that the museum not only accepted them, but gave them opportunities that in a million years, kids wouldn't have an opportunity. In my internship, I realized that 90% at that time of the museum was a research institution. So when people talk about professorships at universities, it's been a research institution way back. And it's wonderful that it is, because things that go on there are the envy of most of the world. And we have it here, and we're advancing science and that type of research here. And it's wonderful. And our kids have access. So I support both the design of the park and the design of the building.
Thanks, Shelley. So I'm conscious of time here. If a point has already been made, if you guys are willing to sort of move this along, it would be great. And also just a reminder about what we're actually voting on. Please keep your remarks limited to that if possible. Thanks.
First, I want to commend everyone who participated in the review of plans, and I think that the plan absolutely the build is very awe-inspiring and wonderful. The plans for the park are beautiful, and I think you've done a great job.
Can you hear me? Well, first of all, I started my familiarity with this. Your patience is beyond anything I can imagine a year ago. And I have to say that initially I thought, what are they thinking? But the one image that's stuck in my mind is what Jeannie Gang showed, which was the Canyonlands and the arches. And I thought, how the hell is she going to pull me? And finally, the walking home. The amount of work that's gone into shooting it. So, hello, and it's not quite goodbye comments, because I did hold my presentation. It just came to light. And so I know you've heard it. We're going to wince at the other one. I think Jeannie will appreciate. And that has to do with material. And it also has to do with the way my colleagues normally put their comments as front and back. First of all, I think the front has been resolved enormously well. But the one, and I love the way you've created this canyon look. The one detail that came out there was the detail of how the glazing intersected back into canyon look as you and not transfer from granite to concrete. There's nothing long where I think your vision would be complete. My only comment is on the back side of the project with the hearing him talk about the secondary facades. And the one thing that struck me in the last presentation was as you look at the Ross Terrace and you do have the planetarium, the entirety of the interior of that space is really brick and stone. And Bill, to your credit, you acknowledge that you're demolishing buildings that are secondary in nature, that have plaster repairs and all sorts of other things. I think if you would go back and revisit the interior view of that entire inside out until such, I don't know what millennia, but that the interior of that context needs to be respected, because that volume that comes in through the front, it doesn't reflect, it's not a mirror of the Teddy Roosevelt, because the back side of that large opening is really brick. So I will throw my support to the project because I think you're nearly there. These are just two things that I think would help enormously, give cohesion to the back side of the building where you peek into the inner workings. And I would ask my colleagues if you wouldn't mind separating the very second to last part that talks about the north and east facing facades, that could be pulled out as you do all your other resolutions as front and back, so that we can vote on the two parts separately, so we can get off the table the fact that the facade and how it transitions, and this is only about the building, because I agree with my colleagues, the rest will be fleshed out in the EIS. It's on your second page of the resolution, and it starts north and east facing secondary facades of the Gilder Center. That it doesn't have anything to do with all of the other things that you talked about, and that should be a secondary comment. And I would ask that, as you said before, that the applicant revisit the materiality of that inner courtyard to respect the context of the back sides of the building.
I don't quite understand.
Rather than separating, why don't you just offer it as a friendly amendment saying?
I'm always afraid to do that because I'm not a parliamentarian.
Yeah, we don't need another amendment.
Don't have another amendment.
What, it's on your second page here.
I
Jay?
wouldn't accept it.
Can I just point
You don't need to
out? Right.
But this is just information.
I know, but it's written the way you do your front and back.
It's just informational. It's not part of the
Well,
resolution.
then I think it needs to be part of the resolution. Do it as an amendment?
Clarify in one sentence.
This language is not part of the resolution. It's just informational as to what the proposal is now. So we're not voting on that. If you have a comment, that's fine, but this is just informational. I can't change it because it would be then a misstatement of
All right.
fact.
If that, I understand, because Gabby always lists out the facts here.
Right, and that's what it
The one
is.
fact, you can leave that here, but I think anything relating to the north and the east facades needs to be pulled out then as a separate, therefore, to restudy that component of
So
the
you're
project.
proposing an
I
amendment.
will propose
Okay,
it.
there's now an amendment.
It's not being accepted as, it's not being accepted as.
An amendment has been proposed by Paige. Is there a second on the amendment? It's been seconded.
We're now ready.
Somebody needs to tell me what.
What's your
The
proposal?
amendment is to recommend that the north-facing facades inward of the new design, i.e. the courtyard, the centerpiece of the building, whatever you want to call it, be reconsidered from plaster and lath of a light color to reflect the context of the backside of all of the other 30 whatever in the confines of the middle exposed piece of the campus. The second facade.
I have it right, because somebody.
And also, and in the second part of that, Mel has just reminded me that give the architect an opportunity to explore the continuation of the facade on the west to continue inside the
And then on the mark.
No.
Paige, can you concisely, can you?
Do I have it? May I try?
Sure.
The amendment asks to separate out the east facade, and I have to align with the backside of other buildings on the campus, and I believe you used the word brick somewhere in there.
I don't mean line, the material should be, the architect reconsider the material of the backside of the builder's center.
You're talking about the inside.
So I'm talking about
Reconsidered from plaster and lath, so the materials are consistent with
the context and backsides of the courtyard of the campus. I'm trying to make it simple.
Yeah, and then I think we're gonna have to vote on the amendment.
Let's vote on the amendment. Just an observation, okay?
Well, let's.
Just to remind the board members that what we are voting, whether or not this design materials, etc., are broken. We are not voting on, and with all due respect, it is one architect's preference opposed to what the other architect has proposed. So it's not in any way a denigration of Paige's observation, which may be perfectly rational to a discussion when the architects are doing their design. But I submit that it is not a question of appropriateness, and I would again ask the committee to not vote in favor of that amendment.
Okay, everyone, if I can get everyone's attention first. Okay, Mel's gonna speak, Mark is gonna read what we think the amendment, and then we're gonna move on, okay? So, Mel, you have the last one.
I think Paige has a very good point, and I don't think even any architect would disagree with Paige's point, that the materials on the backside of the building that's actually planetarium are essentially stucco. And the stucco is a lesser expensive material. And the rest, the new kind of brick and other kinds of material that people look onto. And so what Paige is saying is that should be something as visually appealing as the rest of the backs of the buildings. And I think that's a valid point. And I think it goes to appropriateness. And all she's asking is that the architect explore stucco and using something more contextually appropriate to the rest of the other buildings. The second part is carrying that beautiful exterior on the front of the building further inside to the entrance of this building, which is now considered to be concrete, and that they explore bringing the granite from the beautiful outside facade more inside so that you get that it's like, I think these are very reasonable requests. I think they are part of the issue of appropriateness, and they really are not a demand, but a request of the museum to take seriously the choices that they're making around materials. So I not only seconded the amendment, but I think it's worthy of a vote, because it's not to be committed. It's like, look at this and stop using the budget as a guideline. Use the kind of beauty of the whole building.
Okay, thanks, Mark, for clarifying that. Mark, you want to read what the proposal, you ready? This is the vote on the amendment now. Mark's going to read it and then we're going to vote on it.
So here's what I've got. That the proposed amendment would separate out the discussion of north and east facades from the discussion of the west facade. Jay, you're shaking your head no, that's not the amendment?
I'll repeat what I said before, Mark. The separating the language out, these are statements of fact as what the proposal is.
But my understanding is that they're offering a different therefore clause.
Yeah, but this is not a therefore clause.
I think they're offering one as a with.
Okay, well, then the amendment is not to separate anything
We're
out.
not.
Yeah.
The amendment is to add a ratio that the architect do a couple of items differently. And what I'm suggesting is that.
You don't agree with that?
I don't,
Okay.
well, I don't agree with it. And the real agree with it is because, as it is with many projects, that we consider appropriateness in many ways to determination. And what we try to avoid is simply creating a situation where one person's preferences are.
Make a suggestion.
No, I didn't say. Trying to clarify, in fact, not to take language out.
If we, my co-chairs feeling about this, but then to the end of the same way the board strongly urges the applicant to use alternative fuels, the recommendation that the architect consider materials for east and north facing facades and consider continuing the stone from the exterior into the building. Consideration that it's not, we're not saying that they will, we're not requesting it, predicating our approval upon it, but that it is important enough that we ask them to do that. And that, I think that, and then that is like a great.
Are you fine?
Just a question. Paige, you accept that as a substitute to your amendment?
Yes.
Is there a second? Is it a second to?
Okay, call the question. Call the question on the amendment.
There is no.
The amendment, I believe, has been withdrawn in favor of a friendly amendment.
I'm not accepting it as a friendly amendment.
No, it's an amendment that suggests, makes a recommendation. To that you said.
Evaluating, reconsidering alternative. In using the in as well as the X.
Just clarify. With no change. It's only material. Okay.
about the building design, and the park design. You know, I'm an architect. It's not often that you get the AIA to come here and speak on behalf of a project. In fact, we've seen it for 20 years, and that's quite unusual. I find that the design is quite outstanding. It's an innovative design that picks out the basic character of the museum. There are a lot of interesting and good things. I think this amendment that we just voted on to continue with the materials of the facade facing west onto the rest of the interior, some of the interior and the exterior as well. Having said all that, I don't think the issue is so much architecture here. I'm a very big park user myself. I live near Central Park. I think the issue of a quarter acre of park, mainly 100 feet by 100 feet, is of some concern. And I know that many other museums, like the Metropolitan Museum of Art, the Whitney downtown, the San Francisco Museum of Art, many of them have rooftop parks, literally, spaces high up above the museum that can used by museum goers and others. I think there's an opportunity here by the Museum of Natural History to provide space on the roof. They're building a new addition. Some of that has glass going down, so it's not possible to do it everywhere. But I would encourage investigation of bringing park users and museum users up to the rooftop in some way, which might be a fantastic experience. I mean, if you're up there at the end of 79th Street, looking out west, you see the Hudson River, you know, and you probably can't look east because there's too much of a museum in front of you. But I don't think this is something we need to vote on, but I would strongly encourage the museum to consider providing maybe a quarter acre of space up on top of the new addition.
Okay, is that a friendly?
Yes.
I think we can add that in as considering.
Any remaining folks down the line who would like to
rooftop
speak? Otherwise, we're gonna, I mean, the question's about to be called and we're gonna try to call the question. Question has been called.
I'm sorry, did you say you're?
Yes.
You can't see the river.
The question has been, we're gonna curtail further discussion
We're gonna do
to be prepared for
May as
vote.
well.
Okay, just.
We had broken this into A and B on the parts of the building, but I think at this point, we've had enough.
So let's go over the resolution part.
Are we voting on?
All those in favor, please. That are community board members. Wait, how many against? I'm sorry.
One over here. Three abstentions. So the vote carries 37-130.
Thank you, everyone. If we could politely ask people who are leaving me out if they could leave. We're gonna, a quick announcement about item number 2. As I announced at the beginning of the meeting, we are tabling that. It is going back to committee. Anyone who's here to talk about street fairs, come to that. So we're gonna move on to item number 3. Attorney, you're up. You guys got it.
For those that can show here, is approximately for the Beresford. They are asking for 4 concrete planters on their Central Park West frontage. This, when they presented to us, the planters appear to be north of the subway stairs, so would not cause as normal folks use that sidewalk. Are there any questions? They are movable, should there be a problem, of course. This is resolution number 3, folks, the Beresford. Can we vote on this?
Questions been called?
All those in favor?
All those in favor, please.
Item number 3, transportation committee. You're the right.
3 planters by the Beresford.
Board members, we're voting. 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. That's 35. Anybody against? Okay, anybody abstaining? 1. So the vote carries 35.
Thank you. We're going to turn it back over to
And actually should vote, so that is, so I think that's the one, 840 West End, we'd like to take separately, but if possible, we would like to bundle 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9. Item 120 West 74th Street was an application for a facade restoration, front stoop, and rear yard addition. Facade restoration we approved, but the other 2 elements of the application we disapproved. The stoop because it wasn't there in fact was available material historically a different design, and the rear facade we didn't have enough to go on. We felt there was an inadequate presentation, and so we disapproved that piece of it. The next application, and the roof, well, there was also a bulkhead rooftop addition which we approved. 50 West 77th Street is less restaurant. We approved. It's to create ADA access to this basement restaurant, and we have actually asked the applicant to bring the to go back because they presented to us several months ago and to us several months ago. We had issues with something that came into account our concerns about scale and slight material changes, and they made a design that was more appropriate to its context, and so we ended up approving that. So, except for 840, I mean, I can read again, yes, no, but we'd like you to support our decisions on everything except 840, which is.
Gabby, a quick question, for 307 West 103rd Street, I saw that in the original meeting, the owner of the building right next door had concerns about the rear addition, and they modified the addition. Is the owner next door okay with it now, or is
I
she?
believe they actually were, it actually was a really interesting, they're making a passive house. And I think the owner next door, they have engaged, they're in discussions, and at the last meeting, nobody was there to oppose it. And I think that the owner was there, so in a way.
Okay.
So that's, but honestly, I can't say that. Yeah, Mark, do you remember?
Your recollection is consistent with mine.
Okay.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Landmarks hasn't already approved 127 West 88, I think.
127 West 88. That's only no.
That's the gate.
The
That's
gate. Actually, I don't.
So we rejected that. That's the gate.
Yes, we rejected it,
I don't think so.
Already approved.
as far as I know,
LPC.
as far as I know.
Okay.
So if, can I call the question for all?
Yes.
So if so, the vote is to either approve or disapprove according to what we said here for items 4, A, B, C, D, 5, 6, 7, and 9. So not bundling 8.
So, the policy also goes with your recommendations. Okay?
Yes.
So all those in favor, anybody has a problem with it, because we have approvals and approvals here. No, okay, let's go. And all those are in favor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 34, anybody against? Okay, the vote carried 34,000.
Jerry,
Yes?
for number 9, I'm gonna abstain.
34,000, hold them, except for number 9, when there is one abstention.
Before we go to number 9, so we're gonna go back to number 8 now. Right?
Okay, so now.
Can I just make a quick announcement?
Yeah.
Somebody's left a Prada bag. I don't know if it's anyone who's here still. I have.
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
No, or
Like I'm reading
no.
it.
For a rooftop addition is located at and the interesting thing that the applicant, when they first, on September 8th, there was an element, a additional feature, which in addition to the overhang, and this is an important thing because they're having no option. And common question, and over the course of the presentation, even if they could read the additional piece of the cornice, which they thought they would be able to, that it would obstruct them, it would make the rooftop addition minimally appropriate. So let's go through it just very quickly. This is another image of the, this is an image of the building today. It's got on it that says when if they will move that around. Okay, these are just side views of the building. Go ahead. So this is the existing main sides on West End 101, existing renderings without the rooftop addition. There are much rougher materials and they're not contributing. Next, this is the proposal for the rooftop addition. These are flat on elevations, and I'm going to show you a little bit later the elevations from photographs, which give you a better sense of visibility. But the rooftop additions are set back 17 feet from the cornice line. Flag in a dark gray, non-reflective zinc material that will age over time and have glass. They are glass railings, so minimize its visibility. And then they're going to be connecting or accumulating all the cell towers, which they cannot, they tried to get rid of, but there's a lease that they can't, in the least visible places. They shape the plan at the top to also cut off corners and things to make it even a little less visible. But the bottom line is there will be some visibility to this. And the question was whether it's minimally visible or not, or is reasonably appropriate. Jerry, can we go to the next one? These are the non-contributing facades, the roof foundation. Keep going, please. A cross section. Okay, so these are photos, and unfortunately, what I don't have is to show the photos they brought to us tonight. But this is the visibility of the building from about 99th Street looking up. It's the thing that has the purple on it, and the blue, and that's similarly without the cornice, the balustrade that we had. You can see that the blue is visible. And what we learned today when you brought it back is it will still be visible, but less so, and less so at every point. The most obvious visibility, even with the balustrade in place, one looking along 101st Street from Riverside, looking east, and then there's this small point at 99th Street in West End where you will see it in a small way. And the committee 0 to 0 that it was minimally and it's visible. It being visible was minimally appropriate, and so we voted to approve it. And the vote is 4 to 3 to 0 to 0 with the statement that it's minimally appropriate. So that would be a change to however we worded it in the resolution.
I think there are a couple of questions over here.
Yeah, hold on a second. I want to just put that in, and then we'll ask questions. Yeah, if you can see in the if it was conditioned upon the recreation, the original taller balustrade, and we changed the vote from 3 to 0 to 3 to 0 to 4 to 3 to 0 to 0 as minimally appropriate. Okay, questions? Okay, so Madge first.
Why can't you make it small enough so that it's not visible? How small would that happen? I mean, how much would have to be noted?
We've asked that question, and we also we asked if we could have them reduce it so that it would, in one section, but because of everything else they're doing inside, the ceiling height, if that ceiling height was reduced, it would make the other part where there were drop ceilings for air conditioning, so they don't have it above, would get too low. I mean, ideally we'd like it lower, but I think they tried very hard in how they shaped the plan and how they pulled it back to make it as minimally visible as they could.
Clary?
Given that, at least as I used to use it and write these resolutions, minimally appropriate meant basically you're holding your nose and saying yes. I'd like to hear from one of the three who voted against what their thoughts were and why they came up the other way.
It is, first of all, it can be seen from quite a number of streets and it's quite visible. The next part of it was the ceilings are 11.6.
11 feet in the front, yes.
11 feet in the front. And we felt that the ceilings could have gone down. In fact, we were told that they actually making the ceilings 2 feet lower, which would have been considerable and lowered the visibility.
I think actually we asked if they could. I don't think they considered it.
Point of order, please, let me take the minutes.
It would have gotten a ceiling down to 96. Also, it's a very, very, this is a very, very large house. And they said that there was no way that they could recess the walls in, and that's why it's so visible. They weren't giving us much. And under the circumstances, a number of us felt that it was not appropriate or minimal.
So the in floor to ceiling, the interior 11
There is a portion that's 11 feet in the living room. There's a lot of air conditioning work, and from what I understand there, the duct work and the interior is 8'6", so 11 feet to 9 works fine. 8'6" to 6'6" doesn't. Now, it doesn't mean they couldn't reconfigure things, but that was where we left it.
They're regutting the whole building?
No, this is an addition on top. It's not affecting the rest of the building. Structurally, they can do it without, from what I understand, having to do additional reinforcements. They have structural.
There is scaffolding here.
Scaffolding, facade repair work, and for the restoration of the cornice, which has already been approved at staff level.
I think Nisha and then Richard
Yeah,
and then
Nisha
Sue, and then we're gonna have to vote.
Yeah, I'll just say that, I found the research effort that they made very commendable, and the effort to try to make the dimensions of this missing balustrade cornice, to be very, very, positive. Really, resonated for me at the committee meeting where all the members of the building, the residents of the building who came and spoke about the rather difficult experience that they have been having, and the absence of, I guess, forthcomingness on the part of the landlord, and that really impressed me. I asked a number of questions with regards to reducing the height, chamfering the corners, softening the edges, somehow to reduce the visibility. I'm not opposed to visibility. I think that when you see rooftop addition that's visible against other construction, I think that's perfectly fine. There's just a number of very open vistas where this is seen against the sky. And I think that a responsible that would have included a little bit of thoughtfulness about reducing the visibility.
This is the instance when you see it against the sky.
There's several, there's about 3.
I think Richard and then Sue.
Wait, I'd like Peter to make one comment, because do you want to make a comment about the facade and how that?
Yeah, I think the addition of the railing or the balustrade makes a very big difference. When you look at this building close up, like in this particular view, and then you put the balustrade in there, it does make a huge difference. The top of the building is much more framed. It was originally probably that way. There are many buildings that have this. Buildings like this from a distance. When you look at the building from a block or 2 or 3 away, you see many other buildings behind it. While it's big, it does recede. But the balustrade makes a huge difference up close. It provides this top frame at the top, which buildings like this have had when they were first designed. And I think bringing that back is much more important than anything else. And I think it does make a difference.
Okay, Richard, now you want to say something?
My question's been answered by the last two.
Okay, thanks, guys. So do you have a comment?
Yeah, it looks to that photograph that impasse on top or another level on top would not block some of the adjacent buildings do. But you can always tell from the photograph, I don't know that area. Is there any taller?
I think it will from the north, maybe, but the fact is, it's as of right. So, I mean, that piece of it, I think from the east there's no change. Maybe half a block away or something.
No, it's just the building to the north. There were windows that are now going to look out on this, but it's a view thing. It's not a light and air thing.
Right. It's not obstructing light and air, and it's no different than a rear yard addition in a donut in that facade.
No, it's not so there.
It isn't.
Any other questions?
All the questions.
I think the question's been called.
So we have a resolution to approve the rooftop addition as minimally appropriate, and that's for 840 West End, which is number 8.
All in favor? That's 26. Against? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that's 7. Abstaining? 1, 2 abstaining. Abstaining for cause. So the vote passes 26, 7, 2, 0.
Great, thank you. Then we have CI and George, our last items of the night, and I think he's ready to plug us.
Number 10 and 11 are approvals of SLA. Unanimous vote to approve. So I'm going to bundle 10 and 11. Questions? Seeing no questions, vote questions, please. All those in favor?
Against? Abstaining? 1. So the vote passes 3010.
And number 12 is a cafe, unenclosed cafe renewal. Unanimous vote. All those in favor? Any questions?
All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You don't believe 22, 23. You don't want to call that vote. Against? Abstaining? 0.
And finally, 13 is disapproval without prejudice.
Against? Abstaining? Okay, the vote carries 33-0-0-0.
Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second. Okay, thank you, everyone, and we will see you on Tuesday, November 1st. Thank you. It's been great, and looking forward to seeing you on the other side of the table next month.